Hello, my name is Samantha, and my project is called Perceived Status Loss and Political Risk-Taking, a Prospect Theory Approach to Populist Support. So my motivation for this research actually began over a year ago when I took the Psychology of Judgment and Decision-Making course with my faculty mentor, Dr. Sule Gune. At the time, we were studying behavioral economics, and I became really fascinated with how underlying cognitive shortcuts can predict behavior, even if that behavior is irrational. And this inspired me to think about where these ideas could be applied to real-world behavior. And looking at the news today, political messaging is incredibly polarizing. On one hand, you have the incumbent party constantly claiming that everything is going great, while on the other hand, the opposition often relies on crisis rhetoric, warning that the nation is in severe decline. So I wanted to understand how exposures to these different kinds of messages could potentially shift our political choices and change our voting behavior. So to explore this, I designed an experiment where I asked participants to read a news article emphasizing that the UK was either improving or facing severe national decline. I then tested whether that crisis frame would cause them to abandon a traditional establishment candidate who represents stability and instead vote for a risky populist candidate who promises radical systemic reform. However, upon data analysis, the results actually flipped my original hypothesis. So the crisis narrative did not make voters significantly more likely to support the risky populist, but it significantly altered how liberal voters specifically evaluated the safe establishment option. So specifically, my analysis revealed that liberal voters, when exposed to the crisis frame, heavily penalized the establishment candidate, dropping their support by over 11 points. And these results suggest that crisis framing doesn't necessarily make voters more risk-seeking, but instead it may make them associate establishment politicians with a failing status quo. And I believe that these findings could potentially help explain recent election cycles where we saw that many liberal voters refused to support the traditional establishment option. For me, navigating this unexpected data was honestly the most valuable part of the research process thus far. I feel like I have been learning so much and continue to learn so much, and I plan to continue this project with more candidates that are specifically aligned with current political parties to see if that changes anything. Ultimately, as I prepare to apply for a PhD in social psychology this fall, my goal is to continue bridging psychology and economics. By understanding the hidden cognitive mechanisms behind how we vote, I hope to uncover insights that could potentially reduce partisan bias and encourage more constructive public discourse. Thank you.